Good evening, Patriots. How you guys doing? And there we go. Good to see you guys. How's everybody holding up today? God, it feels like spring. It is spring, right? Is everybody hanging tight, comfy? Got a nice bag of candy? Bad joke. So I'm unorganized today. That's nothing new. You know the wolf's head thing I always have behind me on the wall? It kind of came crashing down off the wall and just about took my head off. Missed my head, but it was crazy. Not a lot of news today, but there is a lot of weird, wild stuff, and I think I'm going to start out of order for whatever order I had things in today, which is not much. Again, unorganized. Remember the whole Blue Origin flight? There's this story out now that Jeff Bezos is suing Katy Perry, and I keep looking this story up, and I've yet to find anything that calls it false. There's not a lot of talk about it, but there are a couple stories to back it up that the whole thing was goofy and just a stunt from the beginning. So let's take a look at the video. That's where I'm going to start us out today.
In a turn of events more dramatic than a Hollywood sci-fi blockbuster, Jeff Bezos, billionaire founder of Amazon and space tourism frontman, has filed a jaw-dropping $50 million lawsuit against pop superstar Katy Perry. The reason? According to Bezos, Perry allegedly blew the lid off what was meant to be a tightly choreographed, PR-perfect space tourism stunt by opening the capsule from the inside, exposing the entire operation, and turning what was supposed to be a historic moment into an embarrassing media circus. The legal documents filed are nothing short of explosive. Bezos, through his legal team, claims that Perry violated direct instructions and internal protocol, effectively sabotaging the space capsule's grand reveal. In what Bezos describes as a devastating mistake, Perry opened the capsule hatch from the inside before Bezos could make his choreographed external appearance, exposing what he claims was a simulation environment meant solely for visual and promotional effect. To put it plainly, the Amazon founder is accusing Katy Perry of exposing the alleged truth behind a heavily publicized spaceflight, that it never left Earth. What was supposed to be Blue Origin's glittering moment, featuring Katy Perry as the surprise celebrity guest aboard the next-gen capsule, has instead spiraled into an all-out media frenzy. The stunt, meant to reinforce Bezos' space empire as not only revolutionary but also pop culture relevant, backfired in the most catastrophic fashion. Perry's simple action, pushing the wrong button, or the right one depending on who you ask, has now triggered a war between two of the biggest names.
I mean, let's be honest, and I'll keep playing it, but let's be honest, it backfired from the beginning. It was a bunch of crap. I mean, I've seen people with a computer like mine put together better stuff on a computer. But what were they promoting? A promotional stunt? Promoting what? A bunch of nonsensical bullshit? And he lost out on his grand moment of opening the door of the pod that never left the ground? And he's going to sue her for $50 million for that? What the hell? What the hell's wrong with all of them? So, surprise, surprise, in case you didn't know that already, it was all a big damn hoax. Go figure.
Names in their respective fields. According to insiders, the capsule was staged to appear as though it had re-entered Earth's atmosphere after orbiting the planet. Bezos was supposed to dramatically open the door from the outside, helping Perry out as cameras rolled and drones captured every second for a heavily produced live stream.
Or was there another point? Hear me out. Was this like some goofy ass way of disclosure? Like instead of disclosure, we'll just have an embarrassing moment of disclosure, and I'm getting a little tired of hearing that soft disclosure thing, soft disclosure, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. That video in the intro royally pissed me off today. But coming back to this, what do you guys think? Is there a chance it was done on purpose as a reveal that, hey, you see how fake it's all been? Like, in case you didn't know, maybe they made it extra fake looking to make you investigate a little deeper just to find out that it was completely fake. I don't know. Computer graphics, yeah, they've come a long way, but that was terrible. You know that was terrible. A guy as rich as Jeff Bezos should have no problem creating something better than whatever they created in 1969. And so, yeah, I mean, it's either a bad stunt by the deep state to fool people, or it's a planned reveal. Tough question there. Depends on what you think of Jeff Bezos and the rest of these people, I guess. Yeah, there's a lot of things wrong with this whole stunt, Thor.
Instead, the pop icon reportedly unlatched the inner handle and stepped out by herself, leaving technicians, PR handlers, and Bezos himself in complete disarray. The result? Media outlets and internet sleuths immediately began speculating. Sharp-eyed viewers noted that there was no re-entry scorch marks, no landing gear marks on the desert floor, and worse, there were background noises in the live stream that suggested they were in a soundstage. The timeline of the space flight was quickly dissected and doubted. In less than 24 hours, hashtags like #BezosGate and #SpaceHooks trended worldwide. Jeff Bezos, the man whose wealth and ambition have practically redefined 21st century capitalism, now finds himself on the defense.
The good thing is I don't have to double check the story anymore because they talked about court documents, which means it's 100% true that he actually is suing Katy Perry. Plus, I talked about it on TikTok and they didn't ban the video, so it must be true. How do you guys like it? I'm growing a beard. I'm done shaving. It's going. If I can't grow more hair on my head, I'll grow it on my face. Total change of subject, but anyway, I don't think we need to hear all the crap again. Yep, there were no burn marks and yada yada. The big question is, aside from him, maybe people just weren't getting it. Maybe that's where the suing her comes in. Like, all right, they're not figuring it out. I mean, they know it's fake, but they're not figuring it out that it's like a reveal. So maybe we're going to have to step in here and I don't know. That's what you get when you play stupid games, though. All right. Getting on with the news today. They arrested a 19-year-old with aggravated arson for igniting that wildfire in New Jersey, which is now engulfed 13,000 acres. We start there tonight.
And welcome back to Live Now from Fox. As we do have some breaking news, we continue to cover this wildfire out of New Jersey. And right now, we are learning that a man has been charged with arson in connection to this. And you're taking a look right now at some of that footage we've been sharing with you over the past couple of days. But here's what we know as of right now. A man set wooden pallets on fire and failed to properly put them out in New Jersey's Pine Barrens, sparking a quick-moving wildfire with smoke affecting the air quality in the New York City area. This is according to officials who just released this information today. Prosecutors saying that Joseph King, he's an Ocean Township resident, has been charged with aggravated arson and arson. Ocean County Prosecutor Bradley Billheimer and Department of Environmental Protection Commissioner Sean LaTourette said the man faces aggravated arson and arson charges in the southern New Jersey wildfire, which authorities say as of this morning has grown to more than 23 square miles.
Damn.
The prosecutor's office said the 19-year-old has no attorney listed yet. The fire in the southern part of New Jersey could continue to burn for days before rain later this week. No one has been injured so far in the fire, and 5,000 residents were evacuated but have been allowed to return home. A single commercial building and some vehicles were destroyed in the fire, while 12 structures remain threatened as of yesterday morning. Now, in New York, dry conditions across the state are resulting in a high fire danger rating in several regions, including New York City, Long Island, the Hudson Valley, Capital Region, and portions of the North Country. The state air quality advisory listing those off there for us. The rest of the state is at a moderate or low level of fire danger. Officials saying the fire is believed to be the second worst in the last 2 decades, smaller only than a 2007 fire that burned 26 square miles. As the story does continue to develop, we did want to bring the latest for you here, as we are learning again this morning. A man has been charged with arson after authorities say he sparked this New Jersey Pine Barrens fire. We'll continue to listen to this and bring you more.
I was hoping they would tell whether it was on purpose or not. They said something about a bonfire. I mean, you know, is there a difference in law between it being an accident and on purpose? I don't know. It probably should be, but I couldn't imagine being responsible for something like that. I know how easy it is to start a fire, how quickly they can spark up accidentally, but some of the people that go around doing that on purpose, I don't know how they live with themselves, but I guess if they're out doing something like that, they probably used to slumming it anyway. And of course, what's even worse, it's not the only fire going right now. This one in Cumberland County, Pennsylvania. And I think it's up to 200 acres, if I remember right. Got to be careful with your fire, kids. I just find it odd. All these fires on the East Coast, it seems odd to me. Doesn't seem like a typical occurrence. We get them out on the West Coast all the time. Don't really have them up in the East Coast all the time, do we? Yeah, there's another question, William. I mean, are people sparking these fires? Or are they being sparked? Are they being sparked on purpose? Who's sparking these things? Gets so frustrating. I don't know. We'll get to the frustrating stuff in a little bit. Trump is putting up twin flagpoles to flank the White House, 100-foot each. He's paying for them himself, which is also pretty fascinating. People have all kinds of theories. I don't know why there's a need for theories. It just seems to me like he's putting up some flags, but people come up with all kinds of stuff. The energy one, though, was the most interesting, having something to do with free energy. There is something weird about the border fence, too. We looked at that video way back where there's a place by the border fence where you clap and it like echoes back, like in that place in Mexico, South America. It's been a long time since I've seen that video. But anyway, he's putting up flags, so there's that. Speaking of flags, these flags in Greenville, North Carolina seem to be too tall.
I want to highlight a story out of Greenville where Camping World is back in the headlines as Camping World has closed one of its 2 Greenville locations. Now, the city says the American flag and flagpole that is flying on one of those locations violate city code due to their size. Now, Marcus Lemonis was on Inner Banks radio station early yesterday morning, where he told Henry Hinton on Talk of the Town that he closed one of his 2 Greenville locations on Friday. He said that employees at the Forest River RV location in Greenville Boulevard were told they were closing due to the controversy created by the council. He said, quote, "We think the ordinance is wrong. I think it's also wrong. Council members have been..."
That flag is freaking beautiful, and they want him to take it down. And now he's got and closed his store up because he's so pissed off about it. Look at the controversy. It's the American flag. How dare you complain? I don't think they have any. Where in America do people think they have a right to say the American flag shouldn't be flying? It's just too tall. Too tall. I thought maybe they were going to say the flag was too big or something. I don't know. It looks awesome. That is Greenville, North Carolina. Yeah. So, I don't know. It sounds like something they would do to Trump on one of his golf courses because he's got some badass flags on his golf courses. So, Saturday is Melania's birthday, of course. I want to say she's turning 55. This interesting post popped up with it. Weird enough. Saturday, April 26th will be an interesting day. Not only is Pedo Pope 2.0 staging his fake funeral, but it is also the birthday of FLOTUS, Melania Trump, and was born the same day of Emperor Marcus Aurelius, who dreamed of creating a Roman Republic. In 757 AD, the satanic Orsinians grabbed the papacy, culminating in total global control. The Great Pope, Pepe Orsini, was the true head of the snake. All three popes, gray, black, and white, were executed. Now we are free. Well, God, I hope that's true. But, I'm going to hold my breath, but I will celebrate Melania's birthday. Happy birthday, Melania. We'll party in a couple days. Here in Illinois, we're getting even more good luck. We're getting rid of the dick. And now we're getting rid of Jan Schakowsky. Illinois Democrat Representative Jan Schakowsky, who has represented the 9th Congressional District of Illinois since 1999, will not seek re-election, according to Politico. This is the second Democrat from Illinois this week who reportedly won't seek re-election. Don't forget, Q stated, to look for resignations, final term announcements, because it means much, much more. And we looked at that Q post yesterday. God, it's about time they clean up Illinois. I've been waiting for you guys to get here. You need any help? And Lee Zeldin, he's working on cleaning up some other shit, and he wants to know, well, for one, what do you guys think you're doing trying to dim the sun? The EPA is now demanding answers from a shady startup called Make Sunsets, which was busted releasing sulfur dioxide into the air to fight global warming. Make Sunsets sells cooling credits for $5 to offset carbon by launching balloons filled with sulfur dioxide. Okay. This is highly polluting the air and can literally cause acid rain. Yet the company's been flying under the radar while banned in Mexico, but highly active here in the United States. Thought to consider, Bill Gates pushed sulfur dioxide geoengineering years ago. Yeah, what a coincidence. The EPA has given Make Sunsets until May 14th to disclose what the fuck they're doing or face harsh penalties. And we'll hear Lee Zeldin out.
I mean, someone made a reference earlier asking me about the $2 billion that went to the Stacey Abrams linked NGO. When I say unqualified recipients, you say, well, that's an allegation. But do you have any evidence? Well, I would say that an NGO that receives $2 billion in 2024, that received $100 in 2023, that is evidence that they're not qualified. Now, you could disagree with whether or not you think that that's enough, but that's evidence. When I say that at page 7 of the grant agreement says that they have 90 days to complete training called How to Develop a Budget. Now, you could say, well, that's not enough for you, but it's still evidence. All sorts of NGOs receiving billions of dollars that didn't even exist until this was passed. When I say there's reduced oversight, I mean, you could go back and look at days before Inauguration Day, they were amending the account control agreement. Why? I mean, go read the amendment. Why? They were amending it to reduce EPA oversight. Now, their amended account control agreement from January 13th of 2025 is evidence of reduced oversight. When you have the IG, the former Inspector General, going before Congress talking about how there's all these concerns with the way that this was created and there's reduced oversight, or the current acting Inspector General talking about how there was reduced oversight, what is all of that to you? Now, how is it that every single time an additional rock gets overturned with another piece of evidence, that there are some people in the media who will dig down even further and saying there's no evidence? By the way, I mean, open question. I know that this was supposed to end here a couple minutes ago. I'm getting the high sign. But if anyone could defend, please, just like, how is that zero evidence? How is that no evidence? How can any paper, Politico has written it, Washington Post has written it, the New York Times has written it, others have written that there's no evidence. And now we're all together, and I'm glad that we are. And it's April 21st? It's April 21st, 2025. Why should any story get written after today that says no evidence?
Yeah, that's more talking about just cleaning up where all this money's going for all this global warming stuff, geoengineering, cleanup crap. It's a bunch of crap. Oh, Trump's job trying to create peace is getting harder by the day. There was a strike in Kiev last night from Russia.
Почалася сирена. Ми навіть не встигли дігнутися, щоб вийти з квартири. Просто одна волна, друга волна, у нас повилітали повністю всі окна, двері, стіни, чоловіка з сином винесло чуть би не на другу сторону. Все. Оце все, що я все пам'ятаю. Більш нічого не пам'ятаю. Така ситуація. Осталося без життя, саме головне, що живі. Це все буде добре.
Был такой быстрый, мгновенный взрыв, бабахнуло, и потолок начал обваливаться. На меня упал шкаф в коридоре, и вылетела соседская стенка. И в комнату выпала тоже в одну соседская стенка. И все начало рушиться, рушиться и рушиться.
З Трампом це взагалі треш і повністю проросійська.
Alright, moving forward here, I needed a second to load a couple things, but Zelensky thinks that, where'd that go? That ballistic missile was manufactured in North Korea. Why? I'm not sure. Trump's not very happy about what Russia's doing.
And if I can solve it because of a certain ability, that would be great. And if it doesn't happen, I will say that I think Russia is ready. And a lot of people said Russia wanted to go for the whole thing. And I think we have a deal with Russia. We have to get a deal with Zelensky. And I hope that Zelensky, I thought it might be easier to deal with Zelensky. So far, it's been harder. But that's okay. It's all right. But I think we have a deal with both. I hope they do it because I'm looking to save. And we spend a lot of money, but this is about
at least the news said
this
Trump wasn't happy about it.
I get the pictures, the satellite pictures. I've never seen anything like it. Of the fields after some of these battles, it's horrible that it's going for nothing. We would have never had this problem. You would have never had that war if I were president. I guarantee you that. And for 4 years, you didn't have it.
Trump seems to think that they're close to making a deal, and so maybe, hopefully, I swear it's a game every day trying to guess. But there's that. And same thing goes with Iran. Iran is reinforcing 2 underground tunnel complexes tied to its main nuclear site, possibly preparing them for use as nuclear facilities. I swear we've been hearing that for decades and decades and decades. Which brings me to my next point in video.
You know, I get it. I really do. I get it. I get how everybody wants to see arrests. Oftentimes I'll get on X and I'll go over to the search bar and I'll go over to the trending news. And unfortunately, this is like literally the top trending hashtag arrests. And Pam Bondi and Kash Patel are being thrown under the fire. Like, man, it's been less than 4 months? Less than 4 months. We gotta see arrest. My question is, you know, as we talk about on my show all the time on the Daily Dose, we could see arrests, but then what? Like, are people going to go visit them in jail? Or, like, when this happens, people celebrate, I guess, for a day or two. I mean, we almost forgot the Pope died yesterday, right? And it's like, oh, I told you so. Look, they got arrested, and then, but guess what? Go right back to the Matrix. Nothing changes. Everyone goes back to their 9 to 5, paying taxes and living under the U.S. corporation. The cabal syndicate that's overthrown and infiltrated itself inside the country and all over the world, a.k.a. the swamp. I think more importantly, we get the rest of the evil actors out, right? As in the judges and all the corruption within the justice system. That still lurks a little bit because we got to have a legit justice system before we can arrest people and take them through due process. So don't forget what this Q post said. So if you go to post 1291, check it out there. Pretty much up top here, and Anon is mad because he's not seen arrest. And he's asking Q, what's going on? We put our life on the line for this. So hold on, I'm going to blow it up. All right, so it says, who makes arrests? FBI and DOJ? Can you make arrests with a crooked FBI? Nope. How about see previous posts regarding the FBI? Not easy for anyone. We are in this together. Much appreciation. It's what you don't know and can't see ongoing that will validate your efforts. Trust the plan. Step back. Remove assets. What do you see? Stage being set. Godspeed, Patriots. Man, it sounds like to me, yeah, there's a massive stage being set. This might be the most important cue drop right now for our time. It's coming, my friends. It's coming. But let's figure out how we got here first. Let's figure out how in the world, over the last 100 years, we became slaves to the United States corporation. And thankfully, Trump and the military operation is dissolving it and taking us back to freedom.
It's weird having a stage be set rather than life happen naturally around us. And I think if I did have one fear out of anything here, it'd be that stuff happens, some arrests, and then life goes on back to normal. You know, what, I mean, it's confusing. But I get what he's saying. I get why a lot of this takes time. It's not that I don't understand that at all. What I don't understand is just a handful of the things they're doing that just don't seem to make sense for the time that they're doing them in. And a prime example is this.
In other news, the Trump administration has announced we will put an end to Joe Biden's illegal student loan bailout attempts. No student loan has been referred to collection since March of 2020. That comes to an end. On May 5th, The Department of Education will resume involuntary collections for borrowers with defaulted federal student loans. The student loan portfolio controlled by the federal government is nearly $1.6 trillion, but fewer than 4 out of 10 borrowers are in repayment. This is unsustainable, unfair, and a huge liability for American taxpayers. Debt cannot be wiped away. It just ends up getting transferred to others. So why should Americans who didn't go to college or went to college and responsibly paid back their loans pay for the student loans of other Americans?
That's a lie.
The Trump administration will never force taxpayers to pay student loan debts that don't belong to them. Student loan borrowers need clarity, and we're finally giving it to them. Borrowers will now be clearly expected to repay their loans, and those who default on their loan obligations will face involuntary collections. The government can and will collect defaulted federal student loan debt by withholding money from borrowers' tax refunds, federal pensions, and even their wages. America is $36 trillion in debt. We must get our fiscal house in order and restore common sense to our country. If you take out a loan...
Starting with the freaking press secretary. If you take out a loan, you pay it back. Common goddamn sense. Let's start with everything wrong about what she's saying. Number one, these loans that don't get paid back are not getting slapped on to other taxpayers. It's not happening. It's not happened. It won't happen. What's also funny is the government sitting there telling us to pay our debts to these schools when they haven't even paid their fucking debts to these schools. The school I went to was $26 million in debt, not from students, from the government not paying them. So how dare you get on our ass about our loans when you're not even paying your fucking loans, first of all. Second of all, you're sitting here telling us how these places are getting funded by foreigners. They're giving us half-assed Nazi-like educations that aren't worth two shits in a market where there's no jobs. I owe $30,000. You think I'll be a cold day in hell, my friend, before I'll be able to pay that back? Crawl up my ass about it and see what that gets you. The timing of what they're doing is ridiculous. It's ignorant. It's stupid. This is not going to help their cause at all. Of all the problems and worries we have in this country, starting to crawl up people's asses over student loans, and I don't care if you don't like it. You change the channel and you go enjoy yourself, but I'm going to keep talking. Because I do not agree with it. I think it's the worst timing ever to keep pressing these ridiculous things like soda and food stamps and student loans. You want to crawl up. Yeah, I know. There's people that don't see a problem with it. And funny enough, I got into this on Telegram, and I actually had a lot more people supporting my side than not, because half of what Carolyn Leavitt said up there was frankly lies. It doesn't get slapped on to other taxpayers. Now, am I ignorant of the fact that when you take out a loan, you pay it back? No, obviously not. Most of the people taking out these loans are young, dumbass kids that are 18, don't know what the fuck they're doing, have no idea of handling money, that think they're about to get a fair, good education, when all they're going to get is a nasty drug habit from all the drugs that the government brought into the country, mind you, that get spread around these college campuses. So you fix that problem, government, and then we'll handle ours. That's what I say, and I'm surprised we're not in a situation right now where people are finding ways to sue the government for this shit. What about the people I went to school with who died from overdoses? What about their families? Hey, maybe they should get reparations. You want to give black people reparations for slavery? Well, you brought drugs into the country, and now there's dead children all over the fucking place. You going to give their mothers and fathers reparations for the drugs you brought in the country? I don't care if Trump wants to stand there and say, I'm not responsible, that didn't happen in my administration. It doesn't matter. You represent the government, the good, the bad, the ugly. Whether Biden did it, or Joe Blow did it, or Bill Clinton did it, or Bill Clinton's probably Joe Blow, honestly. So So there's my problem with paying student loans back. And I get it. People agree with Carolyn Leavitt, like MJ Truth here. If you take out a loan, you have to pay it back. It's very simple. 80% of adults in America do not have student loans. They should not be forced to pay the loans of the 20%. Well, guess what? They don't. Doesn't work that way. You've never once paid another person's loans with your tax dollars. What you have paid with your tax dollars is to teach gerbils how to crawl up people's asses and shrimp how to do, rolls and how to run on freaking treadmills. That's where your money's going. I'm just saying, it's ignorant. And for her to stand up there and act like we've got money right now to worry about our student loans when they have not committed to what they promised us, which was to lower our electric bills by half. That's not been done. You keep your promise and we'll worry about our student loans. How about that? Don't you dare stand up there and treat the American people like shit when you got no room to talk as a representative for the American government. And that's why that all pissed me off. It's the same reason that crap from the intro pissed me off. Sitting up there saying, soft disclosure, if you guys saw everything, you would be broken spiritually. Well, okay, let's talk about that. Obviously, we're not going to see everything, nor should we. It's child abuse. We don't need to see it all. We need to see some arrests and stuff. But soft disclosure, we've dealt with that for 10 years. We've been on this ride. We've heard. We know. We've been listening. We get it. To sit there and pretend like we're too stupid to understand, you would break us if you threw all this on. You've been breaking us with sleepless nights for 10 years. It's time you could just get with some hard disclosure and stop making us look like fools, because the truth is getting turned into conspiracy because they keep pushing off the truth with this soft disclosure. We don't want to break people yet, so we just we'll hide the truth. And then the patriots out there look like idiots for talking about it. They look crazy and they look like conspiracy theorists because the government's not backing them up. The same government that wants them to pay their student loans. And so I found this guy's video ridiculous.
This is why
I get where he's going with
the
it.
government is giving you, it's called a soft disclosure.
I don't want to see those videos
because
anyway.
if you were to read the reports that I've read in the
But don't treat us
videos
like
that
you
I
need
saw,
to give a soft disclosure. And what really pisses me off about that is the person that sits there and decides the American public needs soft disclosure. That person has a lot of power over everything. Trump has some godlike power right now that's pretty messed up. It's not messed up, it's necessary, but it's also dangerous, and it leaves people feeling nervous. And if you can't understand that, I don't know what to tell you, but again, if you want to be sheep, you can go bah on up Trump's butthole, but be real about things. Let's move on. In Montgomery County, Maryland, school's attorney admits to Supreme Court we're using sexually explicit books to influence kids. This is where we get into the whole of all this, why it's all being done, really.
Mr. Gorsuch? I just want to make sure I understand a few fact things and then a law question. What age do you, in Montgomery County, teach students normally about human sexuality?
I think that it begins in either 4th or 5th grade.
The human sexuality class?
The family life and human sexuality curriculum.
Okay.
I'm not entirely sure.
Starts in 4th or 5th grade, you think?
So.
Is there anything you can point us to in the record on that?
I don't think so.
Okay. And second, these books are being used in English class.
The division between English class and other things in a second grade classroom doesn't really exist. You're sort of in a room with a teacher, and sometimes
No, I appreciate that. I went to second grade too.
Yeah.
But it's part of the English curriculum that these books are being used in. I thought that was.
Yeah, I'm not fighting the premise. I'm just saying that
it's not the math class.
It is not.
It's not the human sexuality class.
It is
it's
certainly
the English
not
class.
the human sexuality class.
Yeah.
I'm just sort of fighting the premise that there's a neat distinction.
Okay, and they're being used in English language instruction at age 3.
Age 3.
So Pride Puppy was the book that was used for the pre-kindergarten curriculum. That's no longer in the curriculum.
That's the one where they are supposed to look for the leather and things and bondage, things like that.
It's not bondage. It's a woman in a leather.
Sex worker, right?
No.
No?
That's not correct. No.
I read it.
It's a drag queen.
Pride Puppy?
Drag queen and drag
Correct.
queen.
The leather that they're pointing to is a woman in a leather jacket, and one of the words is drag queen in the search.
And they're supposed to look for those.
It is an option at the end of the
Drag queen. That's supposed to be in your 3-year-old's vocabulary. Drag queen. What kind of fucking world are we living in? There's a line, sex ed used to just be the birds and the bees and all that crap or whatever. Whatever the hell they're teaching children now is sick. It's sick, perverted, nasty bullshit. And 3-year-olds, come on. Pride Puppy, pre-kindergarten learning tools. 3-year-olds should be learning ABCs, colors, 1, 2, 3s, not bondage gear, drag queen, Pride Puppy. That's child abuse. That's child abuse. Did I wake up in hell this morning? Oh my God. I swear. I don't get it. I'll never get it. And in Colorado, this federally funded sex ed summer camp pushes perverse indoctrination on young children, including discussions about pleasuring themselves. The Boulder Valley Health Center's sex ed summer camp in Colorado is a taxpayer-funded nightmare that's grooming children with explicit, depraved content masquerading as education. It's not about health. It's radical, sexualized agenda targeting vulnerable kids, and it is utterly disgusting.
Which is an extremely liberal campus, is offering a sex ed summer camp for all incoming 5th and 8th graders, meaning these children were in 4th grade just 3 months ago. Sex ed summer camp is full of all sorts of information regarding sexual health that most students don't get to learn in schools. We'll talk about everything related to sex, bodies, sexuality, sexy feelings, media, power, and justice. Some topics might include bodies beyond the binary, feelings of how to navigate them, gender and sexuality, consent and communication, relationships, pleasure in all sorts of ways, self-love, and so much more. Why? Because all humans, especially young humans, deserve information about their bodies, other people's bodies, and how to communicate about them in ways that feel fun, affirming, and exciting. Let me just give you a little insight as to what I was doing when I was in the summer going into my 5th grade year. I was crawling on the carpet of my parents' home pretending I was a rug rat. Okay, I was painting nails, I was playing with Barbies, I was holding baby dolls, I was going outside to rollerblade, and these children
What the hell
are being
is
robbed
that?
of their innocence.
Sex ed summer camp? Is this like a cop-out for parents that don't want to teach their children to send them to sex ed summer camp? I would worry about my kids going to regular camp. Oh my God. And, that's why I get irritated about this soft disclosure stuff. This is a serious conversation that's been turned on us to make us look stupid, to laugh at us. Oh, Pizzagate. That's that thing about a pedophile at a pizzeria, right? Yeah, that's not funny. It would be nice to have a little backup, a little proof out there, a little bit of real disclosure instead of this soft disclosure shit. Now that the Pope's dead, brings me back to this interview that Macaulay Culkin did a while back.
Star Macaulay Culkin has blown the whistle on the entertainment industry elite to reveal that Hollywood studio executives are bloodthirsty Satanists who ritualistically murder child actors. The Home Alone star has exposed movie business execs as satanic pedophiles who ritually abuse children in the industry. He claims he only got out alive because he was a smart and suspicious kid who got too famous to be killed like some of the other kids. He says, quote, "You learn very early to recognize which of them want to abuse you and which of them have even darker tastes," he said, explaining that the worst of them wear shoes made of the skin of children that they ritually murdered. Macaulay Culkin dropped the huge truth bomb during a radio interview in Paris, France. He said, "Have you seen leather products made from human skin? It has a very unusual, distinctive look. I learned at a very young age to identify it." The news was picked up by French media, with mainstream French newspapers quickly reporting on the explosive interview. However, within an hour of publication, all reports began to disappear, with previously published articles suddenly being scrubbed from the internet. French news outlet Les Echos
And I know
deleted their
this
entire
stuff you've
article
heard
shortly after.
before about the red shoe stuff. We're going to take a look at what James O'Keefe has been up to here shortly, and then a new Juan O'Sullivan. But I want to finish this topic up, like it or not.
So everything is one big allegory. With the fall of the monarchy comes the fall of the money system. The Wizard of Oz is symbolic of all of this. When Dorothy's house falls on the Wicked Witch of the West, the money system is destroyed as she is wearing ruby slippers. The ruby slippers are the papal shoes. You can hear this in the Cardi B song, Bodak Yellow, like Follow the Yellow Brick Road. Papal shoes codes to bloody shoes and ruby slippers. Dorothy is encouraged to follow the yellow brick road to get back to the heart center. The yellow bricks can be tied to Dorado. Dorado actually means freshwater fish, but is tied to the ancient Mayan city that is shown in the movie The Road to El Dorado. The keys to the kingdom of heaven that are in Vatican City are represented by silver and gold. And by no coincidence, the differences between the movie The Wizard and The Wiz automatically show us what's happened. Dorothy, played by Diana Ross in The Wiz, is wearing silver slippers instead of ruby. Now, they make up some random reason why she's wearing these, but it's symbolic of the Silver Age. Silver is representative of the moon, and this is how you know we're in a lunar cult of money. And what does the moon rule? Cancer. And this is why it has been equated to dirty money. It's also funny that Ariana Grande is supposed to be putting out an album called AG7. You can go back to Levi the Great Astral Assassin's codes where he shows this. And by no coincidence, Ariana Grande is a Cancer, also ruled by the moon. So money rules the tide. Our current system, or our currency system, is ruled by the tide. And I've spoken to this a little bit before, but the sun and the moon can be referenced to either Apollo and Artemis or Yemaya and Oshun. This is also why we have a money system that is dedicated to keeping people working Monday to Friday, Moon Day to Venus Day. Everything is a huge allegory for the birthing of the sun. And this is why you have the whole story through Freemasonry about the widow's son. She gave birth to her son, killing her partner, and thus creating the demiurge, which is the system that you see that we live in. Gold is symbolized by the word Aurum, which comes from goddess of the dawn, or Aurora. So now we see why the eclipse was such a big deal, because it was representative.
She's getting deep in there. The interesting part to me was about the Wizard of Oz, the Yellow Brick Road stuff, which we're going to find out more about as time goes on, I think. And they really dive into the San Francisco stuff. If we ever get finished with the Hollywood stuff, you know. Where am I? This is Elon Musk's mother. You see why that worries people. What worries me is the rumor that he made $6 billion overnight the other night. You can see why all this stuff worries people. Their worries are not unfounded. One more before we change to O'Keefe.
All right, let's walk this carefully because this is real, it's dark, and it's one of the core mechanisms keeping the inversion grid alive. What is adrenochrome, really? That's only part of the truth.
I know we've heard about adrenochrome. This is a little different. This inversion grid thing. Listen to this.
The full picture is this. Open quote. Adrenochrome is a bioetheric compound created when the body is flooded with adrenaline during extreme trauma, especially in children. Close quote. In that state where fear, pain, and despair peak simultaneously, the body releases not just a chemical, but a frequency charge. And that's what the elite are after. But the energy encoded into it, why do they harvest it? Because it extends life in their distorted, decaying vessels. It amplifies psychic capacity, allowing temporary access to fourth-dimensional control grids. It acts as a currency, a spiritual fuel traded not in dollars but in power. And in some cases, it is required to sustain hybrid or parasitic entities that cannot survive without stolen life force. The trade network, a shadow grid. The adrenochrome trade is organized, global, and ancient. It's not new, it's not random, and it is deeply embedded in every major control structure on Earth. How it moves. Children are trafficked under legitimate fronts, NGOs, orphanages, elite adoption rings. They're sent to harvesting sites, military bases, black sites, underground tunnels. Trauma is induced through ritual abuse, torture, fear conditioning. The substance is extracted, sometimes with tech, sometimes manually. It is processed and distributed like any other elite commodity.
So much for relying on the adults of the world. You know, children are our greatest treasure on the planet, and people throw them away like trash. They really do. I don't get it. But that right there sounds like a bunch of adults not standing up and allowing all this to happen to kids over and over and over. I mean, what a bunch of worthless adults. It's sad. It's really sad. And that is why kids don't have much to rely on today, I guess. I don't know. That's disturbing. Let's take a look at what James O'Keefe has been up to here in this new video.
Same guy who tried to overthrow an election is just like truly setting us down a path of dictatorship. He's illegitimate. He's terribly immoral, breaking every norm. We're going to resist him. Everything he does.
James O'Keefe here in Arlington, Virginia, in front of the Pentagon. The branch chief inside the Pentagon saying on hidden camera he's going to resist against Trump and Hegseth. Now, since President Trump was elected and assigned Pete Hegseth as Secretary of Defense, the DOD has faced a number of leaks in the past few months from employees inside the Pentagon.
There's some type of deep state forces that want to make sure you don't stay there.
They've come after me from day one, just like they've come after President Trump. I mean, I've gotten a fraction of what President Trump got in that first term.
The Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, has been going on media interviews expressing that there are people within the Pentagon who want to resist the president and hurt his policies.
I know exactly why I'm here, to rip out the insidious ideologies and not compromise and not back down, to reestablish standards and accountability.
Nicholas Terza, a branch chief within the DOD, expressed dissatisfaction with his new boss, Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, claiming he is too young for the job.
So I'm assuming that your boss isn't Pete Hegseth.
Ultimately, he is my boss.
Okay.
But this is insane. I actually know Pete Hegseth.
You do? Like personally?
This is so crazy. Like, that's not a good reflection on me. That's a bad reflection on Trump. Like, nobody I know should be the Secretary of Defense.
Oh, no.
Like, he's insanely young to be the part, like, and he wasn't that high up in the military. He used to be in the DC National Guard.
Oh, did you guys work together? Or?
Yeah, I mean, in our side hustle in the National Guard.
Oh.
And I met him in my unit. He was just in my unit. And I don't know, I can go on about who that's at.
Now, Nicholas Terza claims that he knows Hegseth from the D.C. National Guard, but we spoke to a senior official at the Pentagon who said that's not true, that Hegseth has not ever heard of this man or seen him.
But what do you think the intent is? Is it like they want to hurt America?
I think they don't care who they hurt. To enact a change that they see making America in a populist conservative framework more traditional, even if that means being more sexist or racist or chauvinist.
Terza also saying on hidden camera he did not know he was being recorded, that Trump is an illegitimate president, an immoral dictator, and they plan to resist everything Trump does.
The same guy who tried to overthrow an election is just like truly setting us down a path of dictatorship. He's illegitimate. He's terribly immoral, breaking every norm. We're going to resist him. Everything he does. I'm a very patriotic person, and I've never been less patriotic.
Now, the reason this is concerning, the Department of Defense is often directly responsible for the president's safety in the event of travel, events, campaign rallies, and everything else.
What's your least favorite thing about Trump?
Oh, that he utterly lacks any moral principle. The worst thing about him is his utter lack of moral principle. The second worst thing about him is how stupid he could be.
Should the president's safety be entrusted with people who believe that he is illegitimate and immoral? And here we have a field trip. Let's take a look. People are coming in. Hello, everyone. How you doing? This is James O'Keefe reporting live in front of the Pentagon at the Memorial, Air Force Memorial here in Arlington, Virginia. Stay tuned.
So, interesting story there, huh? There seems to be people, it feels like, very specifically targeting Pete Hegseth. Take a deeper look at these leaks. I can't remember what this video was.
With the people like that guy, the branch chief from the DOD that James O'Keefe has just exposed, criminally charging them for the crimes they committed. I'm not saying going after whistleblowers. I'm saying if somebody is leaking classified information, you criminally charge them and then let all the other weird woke cultists in the deep state know. You will go to jail all the same for leaking information.
That's an important part. It's not just about getting the dude that did the actual, leak the information or whatever. It's about making it clear to other people that might decide, oh, I'm going to take on Trump and I'm going to resist, thinking that it's, 2017 or 2018. This is a different administration. And this administration will prosecute you if you break the law. We will put you in jail. And the evidence is they're prosecuting people and putting them in jail, or at the very least, they're finding those people and firing them at the minimum. But I would like to see prison time.
We were talking in the green room.
That's all I'm waiting for.
Yeah, that's where we were like, "Where's Kash Patel? Where are these? Why are these people so quiet?" And
3 months.
I think that they're in there rooting out the leakers right now. There's a lot of turnover and
I think it's all being done on purpose and to slow their progress down. You got people destroying documents. How do they clean this mess up? I mean, can they ever get all these despicable people out of their hair? That's a whole other story altogether. Before we turn to Juan, we got to look at a few more things here that I just keep popping up. Boeing reported a net loss $37 million in its first quarter of this year. Not really a big deal there. You can see how unorganized I am. Trump 2028 hats have gone on sale at the Trump store. People are going wild over that. To what it could possibly mean, who knows, right? What else? Gotta make sure I cover everything. There's a lot of stuff going on with the judges, so much so I can't even keep track of it. Along with Pam Bondi, tonight I can confirm Jose Enrique Martinez Flores, an allegedly high-ranking member of Tren de Aragua, arrested by the FBI in March, had his indictment unsealed today. That's interesting. Are they unsealing indictments? That would be nice to see. Department of Justice indicts alleged high-ranking Tren de Aragua member on terrorism charges for the first time. There's a lot of blocking trying to go on by these judges, and I can't keep track of because there's more than one case, so let's see if we can figure this out. Federal judge pauses discovery in Abrego Garcia case for 1 week. I'm getting there, guys. We'll get to Juan. Just got to make sure I cover everything here. President Trump just sidestepped a judge's order attempting to block the deportation of illegal gang members by the Department of Homeland Security to countries like El Salvador. Trump deported them through the Department of Defense instead, stating the judge's order only applied to the Department of Homeland Security. That is classic Trump right there. You won't let me use the DHS to deport aliens? Well, I'll use the DOD then. Can't use the DOJ? I'll use the DOD. That's hilarious. I could see Trump flying him on his own Trump plane if he has to. So there's a lot of that going on back and forth. Trump reportedly signing an executive order this afternoon aimed at Act Blue. Context isn't exactly known, but the order will likely focus on stopping foreign donations to U.S. political campaigns. Yeah, they need to stop that at colleges, too. Stop all these foreign donations, and we wouldn't be owned by China right now. Let me make sure I don't have anything else before I put Juan on, my folks and friends. By the way, Juan will be on the Ethan Lucas show Friday night at 7:30. Pakistan has suspended all trade with India, and they've shut down airspace for all Indian-owned and Indian-operated airlines. That situation's kind of tense right now. Pakistan announced live fire naval drills in the Arabian Sea near the maritime border with India, which is nerve-wracking, I imagine. Pakistan says any attempt by India to cut off the Indus River supply is an act of war. Former CIA official pleads guilty to acting as a foreign agent and mishandling classified materials. See, they're getting some stuff cleaned up. They're getting a lot cleaned up. I don't want you to think that I'm not giving them the credit that they deserve. There's just some things that I don't understand why they target them when they do. Trump's going to hold a rally in Michigan next week to mark his first 100 days. That's Tuesday. He's going to hold that rally. By the way, I'm excited about the 1-year party we're going to have. That kicks off this year during the Jubilee. It launches on Memorial Day this year, 2025, and continues on through July 4th of next year. That's our 1-year party for the 250th birthday. So, maybe that's a good sign. Who knows? All right, I think I've covered enough there. I think it's time to kick off some Juan, and after that we'll look at some other things I want to look at. Just a couple other small things. Yeah, let's get into it. I'll see you in the chat.